And you're in for such a treat today because we have with us a number of guests, but to start off with, we have the Reverend Ronald Davidson, and he is with a ministry called Gleaning for the World. And this is one of the more wonderful ministries you will ever hear about. Welcome, Reverend.
Good morning to you.
So I have a little bit of an understanding of what Gleaning for the World is, but if you wouldn't mind, could you share with our listeners what Gleaning for the World is?
Well, we go to industry and collect supplies that are still perfectly usable, but would normally end up in the landfill. There may be issues of a crooked label or something like that, overproduction, and we place those internationally in about 26 countries a year with mission groups. And then we also collect supplies to use with the homeless ministries and churches all over the United States, particularly with disasters. So we place about $34-35 million worth of supplies a year.
And this is so biblical because the word gleaning comes from, well, I'll let you explain it, but that's a very biblical concept of the way God wanted us to take care of the poor.
Well, it comes from Leviticus. Probably the best example of it is the book of Ruth, where she came back into her homeland, and she was able to glean the edges of the field and collect the grain. God set it up that way so that the orphans and the widows would have a way to eat. So those who were willing to go out and clear the extra grain, or if some dropped off the back of the wagon, they couldn't pick it up and put it back on, and they would leave that for the poor. So we do the same thing with industry, and then we get that out to the mission groups so they can do their ministry. What we have found that if you do the humanitarian work and you care for the needs of the people, then they will come to Christ. And we're caring for about 6 million people a year, and from that, we have about 32,000 conversions to the Christian faith.
There's so much you're gonna love to hear about today, because he has a lot of stories that are within those numbers.